morning, media friends. In the upfront, let me wish you all a Merry Christmas. Me andarki Christmas Shubhakankshalu. Now, I have a proud privilege to present one of the most learned professional who turned into a politician, Professor M.P. Rajeev Gowda ji. Welcome to. Thank you so much for coming over here. వారు 2014 నుండి రాజ్యసభ సభ్యులు, ఇప్పుడు AICC రీసెర్చ్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ వారు చేరుతూ గాంధీభవన్. థ్యాంక్ యూ. Thank you, Sravan ji. Sravan Dasoju, Raju Reddy, Pawan Kumar. The message is about truth and love. This is the larger message of today, and that is something that also symbolizes everything that the Congress Party stands for. So today, I'm going to take you through 3-4 main issues that are facing the nation, and the timing of this conference, this press conference, is when we have just finished an election and we are moving on to the next election. So, in this election, we have not, as a party, fared well in Telangana, but we have a major challenge ahead of us for the 2019 Lok Sabha. And when we think about that election that is coming before us, I do want to remind and draw to the attention of the people of Telangana that there is a national election coming up. It's a question of the fate of India, about the future of India, and therefore it's important to think about the national parties that have built India, made our country one of the strongest economies of the world over the last 60-70 years, ensured a flourishing, inclusive democracy, and ensure that we are a country where love and fraternity and brotherhood is the predominant characteristic. Today, we are celebrating Christmas, which is a religious festival, but India's secularism is like that, where we celebrate every religion, every festival of every major community in this country. But that atmosphere has changed. What you see today in India is an India where love has gone aside. You have violence, you have hatred, you have attempts to suppress minority religions and to make certain people second-class citizens. That is not the Congress Party's agenda, and we will fight it tooth and nail. But let me get to the other issues. When we think about the national election that's coming up, when we think about the other words that I used today, truth, it's important to get at the truth of various moves that are taking place. One move, if you look at the headlines today, yesterday, day before, etc., is of your newly re-elected Chief Minister visiting Chief Ministers of other states on a little Bharat Yatra, trying to create something called a federal front. Let me tell you what the truth of this whole adventure is. You have seen in the last 4 or 5 years that whenever the opposition is divided, it is an open door to the BJP to power and victory. Therefore, it's extraordinarily important to unite secular forces, progressive forces, and to ensure that the right-wing fascist forces represented by the BJP are defeated. We showed when we got together in Bihar, in that original Mahagathbandhan, with, at that time, Nitish Kumar's JDU, with Lalu Prasad's RJD, we were able to push back the Modi wave and gave them a stunning defeat in the state of Bihar. After that, if you actually look at every Lok Sabha by-election that has taken place since 2014, it is the opposition that has won seats that previously belonged to the BJP. It is in Madhya Pradesh, it is in Rajasthan, in other parts, in Karnataka, wherever the BJP was sitting in a seat and we contested. When the opposition was united, we were able to win that seat. BJP has not, after 2014, taken away a single seat from an opposition party in a by-election. So that is the magic of what can be done if the opposition parties unite, if opposition parties walk the talk on the issue of secularism, if they believe that India is a secular country, where minorities have equal and privileges and rights as every other citizen, then you cannot be with the BJP, you have to be with the Congress and other secular parties. In that case, if you are going around and trying to create a third alternative, then what are you doing? You are dividing the opposition vote, you are paving the way for Modi Sarkar to continue its damage to India's democratic fabric, to India's secular fabric, to India's economic fabric, to India's cultural and socio-cultural fabric. That is what we condemn. And therefore, I am here loudly, I am happy to tell you that this federal front idea, the truth behind it is nothing other than an attempt to ensure that BJP and Modi Sarkar come back. We are going to oppose it tooth and nail, and I can assure you that all the chief ministers, your chief minister is meeting, will not fall for this, and they will come and join a broad coalition with the Congress as one of its key principal elements. Let me go on. We are now moving to the 2019 election, and the people of Telangana, so far in the assembly election, have rewarded a political party that played a leading role in the creation of the state. But it is important to remember that there was one more national party that played a very, very critical role in the creation of the state of Telangana, and that is the Congress party. So now, when we have a national election, when we have a country to govern and to govern effectively, it's extremely important that the people of Telangana say, fine, the assembly election is over, let us now focus on the national issues ahead of us. Here is a party that created our state, let us give them our trust, let us give them our vote, and let us ensure that they bring back India to the path that it needs to go on to. Let's think about what has happened over the last few years. Reflect on it. When I talk about truth, truth doesn't happen automatically. We create institutions to ensure that corruption does not take place, that anyone who tries to cheat and betray the constitutional system is punished. And for that we need institutions that keep India and our democratic polity alive and well. Think about what has happened to our institutions under Modi Sarkar. 5 years ago, you would have remembered a movement called the Lokpal movement. You remember that? What happened? Have you seen a Lokpal in the last 4.5 years? What happened to that entire agitation, which was the Right to Information Act? That includes Chief Information Commissioner, it includes some 9, 15, 13 members of the Information Commissioners, and the last person who stepped down from that office, Mr. Acharya, basically said this government has no interest in strengthening this institution, and they have kept these positions unfilled. So how do you make sure an institution collapses? Let there be an overload of work. Let's not have anyone to do that job, and that leader of the opposition has to sit there as part of the committee to choose a Lokpal. This is called a technicality. We have passed bills in the House which allow the leader of the largest party to play that role. That's how the CBI director got to be appointed. Instead, this government is hiding under this technicality, behind this technicality, to ensure that the Lokpal is not appointed. And you should all be asking, why is there no Lokpal today? Who are you trying to protect? That is the question. There is another bill that they have tried to bring in our House. I have an amendment pending for it. Every session I turn in that amendment. It is about the Whistleblowers Protection Act. How they sabotage this law? They basically have said in this amendment, which has not passed in the Rajya Sabha, because we will not let it pass. Basically they say, any whistleblower, someone who is trying to complain that corruption is going on, has to obtain information under RTI before that information can be used. The moment you try to obtain that information, the person indulging in corruption will know who is trying to be the whistleblower, who is trying to expose the corruption. The law is useless. The whole purpose of a Whistleblower Protection Act is defeated. way this government goes about hiding what it does and ensures that there are no checks on its own untruthful and false and negative activities. I mentioned just now the institution called the CBI. That is another institution which is supposed to go after the truth, go after the corrupt. What has happened to the CBI? Have you ever seen in India a case where the CBI chief is raiding the deputy CBI chief when they are fighting each other, they are dismissed in the middle of, suspended in the middle of the night? This is the kind of damage to one of our crucial investigative agencies that has in front of a huge audience says, why are you asking this question to me? The Congress appointed a sitting Rajya Sabha member who was chairman of one of their departments to the RBI board. This is a blatant lie. This is an untruth of the highest order, and Mr. Jaitley should know this. The RBI Act says that anyone who is a member of parliament in the domain of public policy to be appointed on merit as a director, not because of politics, but he has mixed up present tense and past tense. And he is saying the current Rajya Sabha member, I became a member after my term ended and not before. So this sort of blatant untruth is the exact opposite of what we are trying to achieve. We are trying to clean up the system, we are trying to improve the country. Now, this same RBI has got the job of ensuring, this is the framework of checks and balances we put in place, that our monetary policy is managed carefully, that one more judgment is involved, not just the political parties and the leadership's judgment on what needs to be done for the economy. And we have had from this city, from the state of Telangana, we have had amazing governors of the RBI like Y.V. Reddy, who saved India from the global financial crisis. That is the importance the governorship of the RBI involves. That is why we want an autonomous institution. That's why we appoint the most qualified and capable people to the board of directors there. And this government has reversed every single one of these aspects. They have put in place political puppets, people who are responsible for the damage of demonetization, and ensure that in RBI board meetings, they put pressure on the governor to such an extent that this is the second governor to walk away saying, I want nothing to do with this government and its mismanagement of the economy. Raghuram Rajan, my contemporary, who was, I served under him also as on the board, he was governor. He is one of the world's most reputed economists. These people chased him away. Same now has happened to Rajeev Patel. So Rajeev Patel, in my view, should have resigned the day demonetization was forced on him and the RBI. Taken his time, but better late than never. What happens when you damage an institution like the RBI? When you are not able to manage your finances and you want to take away its reserves, you are weakening a critical institution that is critical to the management of the Indian economy. You are ensuring that foreign investors and everyone else will say, this is a country that's shaky, we cannot trust whether its institutions will be managed carefully. The government is avaricious and it goes after the RBI's independence and its money, and therefore, when you assess the health of the Indian economy and the strength of our institutions, people will say, we have to be very, very careful. This government continuously is damaging the RBI. That's another institution that's in trouble. It does other things. It misuses the armed forces in political rhetoric. I won't go into that. But let me get to this other part where I told you Mr. Jaitley has a problem with present and past tense. And this brings me to another institution that has suffered tremendous damage under this government. That is the Supreme Court of India. Any of you, have you ever seen 4 Supreme Court justices reaching out to you, the media, saying, please convey our message to the people of India that we think our institution is being manipulated and pressured and we cannot stand it anymore. And recently, one of the retired judges said, we were really upset because we think there was political interference with the Chief Justice of India and his decisions and actions. So that is the kind of damage another institution is facing under Modi Sarkar, and I want to go deeper into what's happening to the Supreme Court of India. See, there is another story that has been brewing for some time. That story, we had some suspicions initially, but about 1 year ago, I had given a question in Parliament, unstarred question, to Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. And the Defence Minister, I asked a simple question: what is the price of the Rafale jet that you're buying? And the Defence Minister, for the first time, given the track record of various Defence Ministers, the Defence Minister said, "Oh, I can't tell you, it's a secret." The moment she said that, with that reply, everyone started saying, "Kya hai secret isme?" Even the same NDA government previously on MOS had actually said, given some ballpark figure. During our time, every bit of defence expenditure, we laid out how much we are paying for anything. Why? Why do we do that? Because it's not our government's money. It is your money and my money. It's the citizens' money. It is our national security. It's our imperative that we find out how that money is being spent and that it is being spent for the right purposes, for our national security to strengthen it. So when we looked into this contradicted a statement the same Defence Minister, who was fairly new in her job at that time, made at a press conference. When someone asked her, "How much are you paying?" she said, "I don't have the exact figures, I've just taken over, but ask the Defence Secretary, he'll tell you." But afterwards they'll clamp down. Why have they clamped down? Because again, if the truth comes out, it will reveal a sordid tale of crony capitalism, of corruption, of compromise of national security, which is being undertaken in broad daylight by Modi Sarkar and which needs to be exposed and reminded to every citizen of India. This is what this government is doing. They talk one thing, they do another thing. What happened? They are paying 3 times the price for the Rafale jet. You had a situation where the President of France, the previous President, Hollande, basically said that he was under great pressure to give the offset contract to Anil Ambani's company. What is an offset? During our UPA years, we started insisting that any defense deal that we will be buying weapons from elsewhere, that 50% of that money equivalent has to be invested in India so that we can improve our own technology and that we can develop the talent and strength and that we get investments in this country that help us for that big purchase that we've made. What has this government gone and done? This, again, we are talking about information and lies. When we write RTIs to Modi Sarkar saying, who goes on the plane with Modi ji on your foreign trips, right? Dr. Manmohan Singh would happily lead, because the word is put out, I have come with these buddies of mine, please take care of their interests. But when we ask an RTR and say, who went with the Prime Minister? The Prime Minister said, nobody went with the Prime Minister. Okay? Nobody went in the same plane. They went with him, they secured a variety of deals, and we will be exposing what happened in each of those situations sooner or later. But remember, you will remember, once in a while they get caught. There was a photo of... That is a kind of crony capitalism, where the Prime Minister acts as the agent for his buddies. So you don't need middlemen. When you have a Prime Minister doing your work, why do you need a middleman in these deals? No? Anyway, look at this situation. On the Rafale issue, when the Supreme Court faced some PIL saying, look into this matter, what does this government do? It provides input in a sealed cover. So we have not seen it. The Congress party is not a party to this case. But when the judgment comes out, what do we see? We see a multitude of lies in that submission to the Supreme Court. Basically, it reminds me of that old Mahabharata story of Yudhishthira on the battlefield, where Drona hears Ashwatthama is dead. And he asks Yudhishthira, he says, is this true? My beloved son is dead. And Yudhishthira says, Ashwatthama is dead. Right? So the truth is hidden. And the same thing this government is doing. What did they do? They said, use the wrong tense. Just like Jaitley said, a sitting member of the Rajya Sabha was made appointed to the RBI board. They said, look, The wording is such. They say, the Controller and Auditor General has examined the issue of procedure and of pricing and has okayed everything, has placed it before the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, which has okayed everything, and therefore there is no violation of anything, of procedure or of pricing. And so the Supreme Court says, if the body, the constitutional body that is entrusted with verifying whether procedures have been followed, whether the pricing is appropriate, if they have done their job, well, what business do we have to question it? All right? So we pointed out, I'm a member of the Public Accounts Committee. The same day the judgment came out, numerous newspapers and people called me. I immediately said, I've been there only for about 8-9 months. During my time, nothing has come. I checked with the CAG. They said, well, we have not submitted a report to the PSC. So absolutely falsehood. Next day, when the government is caught, it says, it files a notice saying, sorry, we were explaining the procedure. Normally, the CAG will look at it, the PSC will look at it, will place it before Parliament. Nobody needs to know that. Everyone knows that procedure. But you have stated to the court also has stated that its jurisdiction in this matter is very limited, because that is the truth. It is not its job to check on these pricing aspects, etc. It is the CAG's job, and the CAG has not done any kind of report on this subject as yet. The moment I work with CAG reports as a member of the PSC, I see how tight the CAG can be on these matters. And very clearly, in front of you, you all know that the procedure for defense acquisition is what? The procedure involves Cabinet Committee for Security clearing it, the defense acquisition procedure being followed. None of those things were followed in this case. What happened was, Modi pulled a fast one, not only on the people of India and our money, but even on his own team. The defense minister, at that time Mr. Parikar, was inaugurating a fish shop in Goa when suddenly he got the news that Modi has gone and changed the contract. The Air Force chief did not know about it. The Dassault company, a person had come to Bangalore to Hindustan Aeronautics, which was supposed to be the original offset partner, which this defense minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, has trashed and said it's a useless organization, incapable of doing anything. That is her championing of an outstanding PSU. Okay, why? To save Anil Ambani and to ensure that he gets a offset contract. The other part, the other lie that has been submitted, which was authored originally by Ravi Shankar Prasad, who is always fuming on TV. What did he say? That the Reliance and Dassault, the relationship goes back to many years, okay, to 2012. Anil Ambani's company, which has got the offset contract from Dassault, was established and registered 10 days before Modi ji's visit to Paris. There are two Ambani brothers, and they have separate companies, Mr. Ravi Shankar Prasad. One is Anil Ambani, who is in deep trouble in every business of his, who owes the Chinese companies some tens of thousands of crores and is willful defaulter out there. And you have Mr. Mukesh Ambani, who is doing much better, and whose company had a relationship with Dassault. If this union minister can also mislead us and tell us one Reliance is the same as the second Reliance, submit the same story to the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court says, oh, this is an old relationship, ignoring the fact that this company was formed 10 days before this deal was struck. This is the problem. This kind of foundation of falsehood and untruth is creating a situation where even a Supreme Court, that one body that is supposed to save India from, from other kinds of negativities by other institutions, even they have been fooled, they have been lied to, and what was the government's aim? To be able to come to town and say we got a clean chit from the Supreme Court. There is no clean chit. That chit basically says it's not in our jurisdiction. The Rafale seems to be a fine aircraft. Who's questioning the Rafale? We were the ones who wanted to buy 128 or 126 Rafales for the Indian Air Force. What happened to the rest? India, 36 aircraft is a compromise of national security. We needed 126, we have not got that. That is because Modi ji wanted to take care of his crony friends. When will we get that? How long will we remain vulnerable? Why in this entire 4-5 year period, such an urgent purchase has not resulted in a single plane being added to our squadrons? That is the question you must ask. Why is national security being compromised by Modi Sarkar? And on by weaving a web of lies and deceit, by even misleading and lying to the Supreme Court of India, you have institutions being damaged left, right and center, India being weakened continuously. Let me also point out that this is the 150th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's birth. And when we think about him also, the same words that we use, love and truth, all non-violence comes to mind. But what do we have under this Sarkar? We have an atmosphere of violence. When Nasiruddin Shah or any actor questions this, they immediately pounce on him and say, what are you talking about? Run away, go to some other country. Like that. That is the usual nonsense. But young 15-year-old Dalit girls can get burned alive in the BJP-ruled state like in Uttar Pradesh, Agra, when young girls are gang raped and killed. BJP MLAs are involved and they kill the girl's father for complaining. We have no remorse, no response. The Prime Minister of India could, if he had any moral authority, stand up and say, we do not stand for lynching, we do not stand for fake news, we do not stand for violence, we do not stand for attacks on our children and our young women. Instead, he refuses to respond, and Amit Shah, his party president, goes on in public rallies and says, we can create fake news and make it go viral. And we know what damage fake news can create. When a WhatsApp message will go, and you are in a strange town, the messages come, there's a child kidnapper, you will be lynched and finished. Because that is the atmosphere of violence, which is okay under Modi Sarkar. That is what we have ended up with. So today, on a day when we should be celebrating truth and non-violence and love and brotherhood, let me urge the people to open their eyes, to ensure that in the next few months, when we have an opportunity to throw out this government, because this government that has lied to the Supreme Court does not have the moral legitimacy to be in office for one more second. That is what I say. Anyone who lies to our Supreme Court should be resigning and backed off immediately. We will ensure, along with the people of India, that that result will happen in May 2019. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer questions. Otherwise, we have a cake that we're going to cut and
Sir, BJP is criticizing that Rafales could not be purchased because of your lies, and Rahul Gandhi should apologize to the public. And one of your members, Veerapamoil, is criticizing even Aicc Marshal also. You are demoralizing the armed forces. That is the criticism of BJP.
Whenever we want our money to be spent strengthening the armed forces, ensuring that no money leaks out to incapable, incompetent crony capitalists, we are saving the nation and fighting for national security. Whenever this government puts up an army chief or an air force chief and makes them make statements which are political to save them, that is misusing our armed forces. Okay, that is demoralizing. You saw what they did with the surgical strikes, right? We have done enough surgical strikes during our tenure as UPA, right? We did a massive surgical strike on the country of Pakistan and liberated Bangladesh, right? That is what our track record is, okay? This government will send one retaliatory strike and nothing changes on the ground. In fact, if you look at Kashmir, when I was RBI director, we used to have board meetings in Srinagar. That's how peaceful and nice it was. What has this BJP done to Kashmir in the last few years? But as the terrorism come down, as the cross-border attacks come down, how useless is this government's capability when it comes to all these foreign policy and national security issues? That's the question you should be asking them. No one is demoralizing anybody. We are asking what happened to our 126 planes. We needed so many squadrons. You're not even allowing for one, and that too by paying 3 times the amount. What is the deal here? You are betraying the national security. And them saying that we delayed it. We delayed it because every procedure needed to be followed correctly. When something was questioned, we went after, we wanted to make it rectified. This government, have you seen the kind of opposition within the defense ministry, within on the purchase price. Is there a France sovereign guarantee to this whole deal? No, the government has dispensed with that. So basically, just to cover their crony capitalist corruption, they are dispensing with all procedures, all rules. You should be holding them to account. When they talk like that, you should tell them. But don't even raise the issue of Congress. It's you who is weakening India and national security.
So you have told that KCR's National Federal Front will help BJP and BJP will form its government. So,
No.
but KCR has told that he is going to form a non-BJP, non-Congress National Front. What will you tell?
So, I did not say that the BJP will form the government. We will ensure, the people of India will ensure that Modi will remain a one-term Prime Minister. And that's it. The basic point I'm saying is that whenever there is a divided opposition, it helps the BJP. Therefore, when KCR goes out trying to divide the opposition in the pretext of uniting some opposition parties, some regional parties, is indirectly and directly helping the BJP. That's my basic point. Let me tell you that coalition governments have been run in this country for a while. Mr. Vajpayee ran a 24-party coalition government between 1999 and 2004, and we ran a 16 and some other number coalition government between 2004 and 2014. And we saw tremendous progress. When we had regional parties, my own Karnataka's Gowda, Gujarat, etc., you had instability. Governments did not last that long. So it's important that the anchor of an alternative front be a large party, a national party with tremendous support across the country. Even in defeat last time, the Congress got nearly 20% of the national vote. 1 in 5 Indians across the length and breadth of the country voted for us. Right? So it's really up to us to put in that effort and lead, and we have a tremendous record of good governance. And that's the point that people must remember, that this government, for ideological reasons, is hurting the farmer, is hurting unleashing demonetization, hurting the unorganized sector. The way they implemented GST, they want the drama, but they hurt the medium, small and micro enterprises. They hurt the entrepreneur. So this is not a government that has succeeded on any front. So it's time for them to go.
Just
यही नारा बी टीम बनाकर कांग्रेस ने असम्बली इंतखाबात में उठाया जो फेल हो चुका है। क्या अब यही नारा कांग्रेस की मोदी को मदद करने के लिए फेडरल फ्रंट का नारा कामयाब होगा?
The truth is the truth, which is that this federal front will help the BJP more than anyone else. What happened in the last election is that people continued to reward a leader who was a champion of Telangana. I think that was what happened there. Nothing to do with other factors. Mamtaji is with the broad united front of secular parties.
just one federal front. Do you feel like it is giving threat to Congress and BJP?
No. What happens? And ideology is essentially Congress and anti-BJP. So we need to work together with it. And that's what we need to try and do across the length and breadth of the country. And that's where, across the board, if we come together and are united, we will be able to demonstrate, we will be able to deliver a crushing defeat to the BJP. Take Uttar Pradesh, right? They swept the assembly election. That is the simple answer, right? So it's important for us to not divide the opposition vote. And any attempt which is trying to create some story about a third federal front, etc., is only aimed at ensuring that Modi will continue. We will ensure that that does not happen. We will persuade all the parties to come together. And we don't know what Mr. KCR will do. But fundamentally, we are on a mission to free India from the clutches of the BJP.
Sir, what is the main reason for the Congress party's debacle in Telangana? And some surveys also, even now telling that 16 seats will be won by TRS.
Oh, I doubt that entirely. And what the reasons are, we are examining. It's the process is going on.
So
Not at all. I actually think that the people will vote for a national party, which, so we are actually expecting that we will be very competitive and win the majority, if not all the 16 seats. The Congress will win in Telangana, because people who have rewarded the people who created Telangana. At the state level, you rewarded KCR. At the national level, reward us. We played a central role in this.
So will you continue with the alliance with TDP in Andhra Pradesh elections also?
All these are going to be discussed and examined as part of this post-mortem of the last election. And then we have a whole committee created called Committee for Alliance. They will make this decision as developments unfold. I would welcome every political party in the country that is opposed to the BJP to join us, because we are on a mission to save the country. And therefore, as of now, it would be, we would have an open mind as to every party in this country, whether that makes sense on the ground, whether it makes, whether they are truly against the BJP. All those factors will have to be.
Are the sons and daughters. Before that, matchbox.
That's okay. Tell me smoker. You know what the smoker is.
One of you come, please, come.
The young lady, before you.
Oh yeah, I think, please come. Come, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Have a wonderful New Year as well.